Welcome to the latest episode of KapVista Klips. Today we are here with Carly and Maverick from TidyDen. How are you both?
Doing really well.
Awesome. So I want to jump straight into it and I want to find out about TidyDen and what you've done to get to this point. But before we start, I want to get into your background, who you are and how you got to this point and the journey along the way. So I'll throw it over to you. Who wants to go first?
Carly, you can go first.
All right, cool. Thanks for that, Mav. Daniel, thanks for having us. Very excited to be here. A little bit about me, my background. I'll just try and keep it nice and short. Basically studied accounting in uni, decided I didn't want to be an accountant, thought that was a bit boring, but always been interested in business. And the original idea behind that was, that was kind of the pathway to being a CEO, but didn't like it enough. The whole time I was in uni, I was working sales and marketing in real estate, which I loved, but again, just decided I didn't want to work Saturdays for the rest of my life. So pretty simple there. Moved on and I went into business coaching. So I was working with a business coaching company, learned a lot there around growing business, marketing strategies, and was working in high ticket sales as well as coaching other companies. As part of that, we decided to launch kind of a side business to that, which was a virtual assistant agency. The guys who owned the business coaching company said, Carly, you're interested in business. Why don't you lead that? It's a good idea. We don't have time for it. So that's kind of my biggest experience inside of business, was really growing, pushing that. Within about 12 months, it had already surpassed the original business coaching company. We were generating more revenue, had a team of, in 3 years, we'd hit over 3.5 mil in annual revenue and a team of 220 plus VAs. So it just grew to this really big thing that I was pushing inside of the marketing and growth and everything like that, and surpassed the company. And then I kind of got to the point of, why am I doing this for someone else? I want to do it for myself. So that's when I kind of went out on my own, launched my first business, which was an e-commerce brand, which is still running steadily today. Then met Mav, and that's kind of where we took off with TidyDen. Saw the potential, thought it was a great idea. He either already started the concept of TidyDen and building it out, and I really wanted to be a part of it and came on as co-founder.
So you didn't want to work Saturdays and then you chose to be a founder, so you work 24/7.
But it's not Saturdays forever, right? You be a real estate agent, you're stuck with Saturdays the rest of your life. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I was looking forward, happy to work hard. I do work very hard. Both Mav and I think we're very hard. But at some point, I won't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, my brother was at the Aldi distribution center, so loading the trucks, and he got up to be the regional manager had like 250 staff under him, and he's like, I don't want to do this because it's shift work and I don't want to manage everything. So he started a pizza shop, and now he works longer hours and harder than what he was doing before. And like, people just don't understand being a founder, being a business owner, what it takes. So that
it is different though.
Yeah, it's different.
100 hours working for yourself feels like 30 hours working for someone else, I would say.
Yeah, it's different. But, that's one of the things that people don't understand of being a founder. It's not all that Instagram, there's a lot of behind it. And I take my hat off to anybody who can excel, because it is a hard job. And that's why we're in this space, because it is, it's tough. You ride the roller coaster. But Mav, tell us about you.
Cool. I started my life working in IT. I was a young teen mowing lawns, as most 11, 12-year-old boys did back in the day. And I realized that lawns wasn't cutting it for me, excuse the pun. And so spread my lawn mowing business into doing IT services. And I was taking care of the little old ladies in town. I grew up in a small country town in northern New South Wales. I was taking care of their lawns. And then I added on an antivirus and computer check, health check, for an extra $5 on top of the lawn. Great for me. I got to sit inside the aircon and cool down after mowing lawns and playing with computers. As a result of that, one of the lawns I was mowing was the mother of the IT manager at the local abattoir in town. And he was out one day when I was cutting the grass, and I was on his mum's computer, and he asked me what I was doing, and I took him through at a very high level what it was I was doing on the computer. And he said, we're looking for an IT trainee. And that kind of kickstarted my career. At the age of 12, I started an IT traineeship and spent the next 10 years working in IT roles, everything from IT support into network management. And then I had a small team. I was running an IT support team of 6. By the age of 19, moved into IT management, moved up to the Gold Coast where I live now and have been for 10 to 12 years. Made my way through a bunch of different corporate roles into executive IT management, CTO type roles, and eventually I ran out of runway essentially, and got a little bit bored of the mundane, monotonous life of a corporate role, doing what other people want to feed their business. And so in 2017, I started my first business. Since then, I've had 9 businesses. 6 I've either sold or sold on in various different ways, in various different industries as well. A couple of e-commerce stores, a couple of different software platforms, a couple of businesses I've still kept to this day. I do a bit of consulting work in the tech space at an executive level for a couple of large firms, national firms in Southeast Queensland. That takes up a little bit of my time, but in my predominant work is spent building businesses like TidyDen.
Nice. So tell me about the problem. What were you trying to solve, with TidyDen?
So I will talk to that point from the perspective of where it came from. I was looking for a cleaner about 3 years ago, and I didn't know where to start. I went to Google, searched for a cleaner, couldn't find any. I was looking for individuals firstly, not companies, not for any reason other than I wanted to support local, and I wanted to have some form of a relationship with the person who was coming into my house. So I tried finding cleaners, couldn't find any cleaners on Google. So I went to Facebook Marketplace and community groups, and basically put up a post asking for recommendations of a cleaner locally. I went through, my first cleaner was great, actually. She was wonderful. She did a great job, but she hurt her back driving and then had to go back to working a sit-down job. So I then went out again, finding another cleaner, and went through 4 cleaners with all various different problems. The first one was she broke my shower screen in my shower glass and didn't tell me about it, just bailed. The second one stole from me. I had a piggy bank full of coins in it, and that walked away. The third one just no-showed, really unreliable, couldn't keep her coming back. And so I found that there's this real problem with being able to find cleaners, but particularly finding trustworthy cleaners who are vetted and have been through the paces of someone else before. Off the back of that, I then found another cleaning company, and it was a company, but it was run by a young woman, and she'd built a small team and was trying to build a business. So I started using her and her company's services, and through the process, we developed a sort of friendship. And as a result of that, she shared with me her goals for the business, and I was doing a fair bit of consulting work at that stage. And so I did some consulting work with her, and we designed a solution that would run her company and create efficiencies around her company. She shared with me that her biggest problem in her business, the biggest bottleneck she was having, was chasing invoices. So she was issuing an invoice, but it had a 48-hour due date. Of the invoices that she'd issue, 20% of them she would have to chase for payment. And of that 20%, 50%, so 10% of overall invoices remain unpaid. And so it was a real bottleneck for her. So I built a payment automation system using Stripe for her business, and integrated that with her Zero Accounts platform to create a seamless payment solution for her that automatically debited her customers' bank cards. We parted ways after a little time, and I was left with this solution that I didn't know what to do with. And again, I was looking for a new cleaner. And so I went through the painstaking process of finding a new cleaner, and the thought just came to me that if I'm having this problem, I'm not the only human being having this problem. Surely there are other people having the same experience and the same problem. And so I put together a solution that did both the finding of the cleaner, a bit like, I wanted it to be as close to Uber as you can. You put in your address, you get a quote automatically on the thing without having to share personal information such as phone number or email address. You're automatically connected to a cleaner, and then it takes care of payment automatically. That was the vision for it initially. It was supposed to just solve my problem, not become a world-dominating platform. Yeah. As time went on, I realized, and the more people I spoke to, it's a very common problem for people, particularly in dual income households that are looking for cleaners. It's a real pain in the butt. Around November, this is 2023, I decided to build the platform. It was July I decided to build it. November I finished building it, and it was built on no-code platform Bubble. It was around that time as well I realized I don't have the capacity to push it myself. I'm particularly good at technology and I'm particularly good at running businesses, but I don't know a whole lot, and I'm not particularly good at marketing or advertising or brand side of things. I don't have I wasn't hit with the pretty brush. I'm not good at making things look pretty or, making them look aesthetic in a way that other people would like. I'm all about function and form. So I went out looking for a co-founder, and it was around January, I think. Carly, correct me if I'm wrong, that Carly and I met. And we met via Facebook, of all places, a community group, which is ironic considering that's where TidyDen started. We had a couple of conversations. I put up a post saying, I've got this product. It's been mostly developed on an MVP basis, looking to bring on someone who's interested in, changing the world. And Carly and I met. We hit it off pretty quickly, and then she joined the team. And since then, I'll hand over to Carly now to chat about, some of the stuff we've done since then. But it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that's about the right timing. It was Feb when we kind of relaunched the platform, got it really, really going when I came on. And still on that bubble platform is when we launched in Feb. Came on as the co-founder, and that's when we really decided to drive it. Like Mav said, he kind of just had this idea, built something without really thinking about it being something that could actually be, a world-solving problem. So it was cool when we got to have that time to be able to do it. And, in Feb, from then we just we built some really cool strategies around how we could market it. Like Mavs talked to, did some stuff with branding, really made it something that people saw as a complete solution to the problems that we're having. Because, like we've all seen, that is a massive problem that people have where you just can't find cleaners. So launching in Feb, we went through the process, haven't had any ad spend to date. I think, what was it, May, when we hit, last month we hit our 1,500th transaction. So a little over 12 months, we'd serviced 1,500 jobs. We'd done just over 800 customers all through that process, just kind of pushing it organically, servicing people and really focusing on solving that problem that people are having completely.
Yeah. I mean, it is a problem. So my experience in this space is, when you need an end of lease clean, you don't really have that many options. You've got whoever the real estate agent will offer, which is usually expensive, or you ask your friends or put it on Facebook, and you don't really know the quality of work. The times that I've had to use it, sometimes you would get the net end of lease cleaner from Facebook, and they would have to come back 2 or 3 times before the real estate agent would sign off, and it's you pay each time, and it gets costly. Or if you go through the real estate agent, you don't know how good they are, but they are expensive, so they charge a premium going through the real estate agent, and then so it's a frustrating process. But then on the other side, you're mentioning. From the cleaner's point of view, chasing payments, that hassle, there's
10% of all invoices go unpaid. Like that has to be, to my knowledge, one of the worst industries for unpaid invoices. Yeah.
So you're solving problems on both sides, and it's not just an Australian problem; it is a global problem. So that's a good origin story. Tell us about the traction. You launched in February. What have you done to date?
Do you want to talk to that, Carly?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, launched in Feb 2024 last year is when we really started kind of pushing the platform through Bubble, the no-code stuff. So inside of that, like I said, no ad spend. We've just done everything organically, grew through to points. We've had last month we closed out at 53,000. So we've had a 53x since that date in Feb, where we had about 1,000 just from kind of test customers, $1,000 in revenue per month, closing at 53 last month. So 53x, which is about a steady growth of 38% per month we've had. So we've seen some really, really great traction. And over the last 12 months, it was all about seeing do people actually want this, right? Like we knew the problem, we knew we had the problem, we talked about the problem, but making sure it was a worldwide thing. So inside of that, we built, it was around August, I think we started growing the team, brought on our first full-time staff member. We've got a really good team offshore, and we have about 9 full-time staff now inside of like the marketing, admin, and software development, as well as we're building the off Bubble. So we want to build our own coded platform, which is almost done. so that we can move away from that no-code platform. And that's just kind of what's seen that success so far. So like I said, 52,000 last month, hit over 1,500 transactions. So the proof's in the pudding there. I think we've definitely seen that, people want the solution.
Yeah, and I think to that point as well, like we haven't pushed the marketing aspect really hard at all. We haven't done any ad spending at all. Our marketing is what you'd call organic marketing. So, we're creating content and sharing it on our page, and people are viewing it, and that's bringing sales in. We've intentionally withheld on the ad spend side because we want to make sure that our platform is ready to go. The current no-code platform works, and it works well for the functions that we're using it for, but it doesn't do everything we want it to do. So we're pushing pretty hard on getting this platform finished. We're about to launch at the end of this month the version 2. And then after that, we'll move into a continuous improvement model where we'll release every week or every 2 weeks new features and functions. And we've got probably 2 to 3 years worth of features and functions in the development pipeline that we want to release to our customers. Yeah. The upshot of that is that once we're in the new platform, a lot of the manual work that we're doing right now will become automated by the system, and it will be truly a one-stop shop for introductions and complete management of these cleaners, what we call micro businesses. And also for the customer, completely automated management of their bookings and their jobs and their houses. Airbnb customers, for example, they could have 20 properties listed inside of their one account and be able to manage all their properties, all of their bookings, and scheduling and payments all within the one platform. So there's a lot left to come in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be pretty exciting. But the upshot of that is that we will move into scale hard and fast mode after that. We'll start doing some ad spend, and we'll start getting our name out there and actually a brand and market recognition campaign.
Yeah.
Right now, we're still relatively unknown. We're very well known in the local areas because most of our customers are local, but we do have a national presence. We do a fair few jobs in Sydney, Melbourne, all the capital cities, really. But over the next 3 to 6 months, you're going to see TidyDen popping up, particularly in Australia, but also over in the US. We're launching over there shortly too.
Okay. And now, what you mentioned is interesting. So for the Airbnbs and for the landlords, they can automate that process on that side. But then, what investors would want to know is, how do you create like a sticky environment? And then from the cleaner's point of view is, or for a regular point of view, you can keep using your same cleaner, but then all the payments are through the platform to make sure that it's all transparent and make sure that the cleaner gets paid, the client doesn't have to think about it, but then they stay on the platform.
That's exactly right. Look, we've taken an approach of making the platform as good as it possibly can so people want to stay, as opposed to, creating problems for them if they leave. You can take that route, and we will do that. There are certain contracts in place in terms of service so that cleaners don't poach our customers. We've got legalities in place to prevent that from happening. But the reality is if the platform's good enough, they're going to want to stay in both directions. Yeah. If a customer is happy enough, there's no reason they would want to get off the platform other than maybe to save a few bucks by going direct to the cleaner. If the cleaner is happy enough, they're not going to want the extra $2 an hour to be whatever it ends up being to circumvent losing all of their tools that we've built their business around. We've helped them build their business around. And so we really are taking that approach of becoming invaluable to them so that they do stay on the platform and use it. And as you said, we've used technology to create a seamless environment so there's no resistance barrier for people wanting to submit their next clean or to have their next schedule. It's automatic. The payments are automatic. So long as their bank details are correct on the system, it's going to go through.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Just to add to that, if you think about the problem for people isn't just finding a cleaner, right? It's finding a cleaner who's reliable, trustworthy, and will last. A lot of cleaners don't necessarily do it long term. So if someone were to use our platform and just see the benefit, which we've worked very hard to make sure they see the benefit elsewhere, but if they just look at it about finding a cleaner and want to go off, then they'll have the same problem again in 2-3 months when they might need a different cleaner. So that's where TidyDen becomes really sticky in that sense that, it's always something that you're going to be needing because you either work with that same cleaner or you might want to find someone else, need a different property. And from the cleaner's perspective, we talked about the problem of, they can't get they're losing 10% of their invoices being paid. They also find it really hard to get work. You either have the option to work for, a cleaning company and get paid quite little, or you work for yourself to try and find clients directly, which is, really painful, takes a lot of time away from being actually able to get paid, and is really hard. Whereas they can stay on our platform and get clients really, really easily, really simply without doing any work. Whereas, if you were to go off our platform, you lose that ability. So, it's really sticky in that sense for both sides, because it is a long-term solution that people need and want.
Yeah, and we've built in functionality like one of the things we're working on right now is an integration with Xero accounts. And so you can literally run your entire business out of this platform without needing any other software or tools. You can produce a report from the platform that details every job that you did for the year, what your income was, what your GST component was, and then provide that to your accountant, or you can integrate it with your Xero accounts platform and have it go straight through so your accountant can manage it for you. So from an accounting perspective, it's taken care of. Because you're a subcontractor, there's no requirements for payroll or any of those sorts of things. But if you wanted to run your own cleaning company with your own subcontracted cleaners underneath you through the platform, that's taken care of as well. It's built in a way that you can run your entire business from the platform. So it's really invaluable from a cleaner perspective, and it's really simple from a user perspective, a customer perspective.
Yeah. So then tell me about the raise, because you're raising now. That's going into finish the platform and then to scale into the US. So tell me about the raise. How much you're raising, and what's the traction been like?
Yeah, so just to quickly clarify, we're getting the platform online whether or not we raise. It's happening, and we're going to the US whether or not we raise. We're kind of at this pivot point where if we raise, it allows us to scale a lot faster. It will allow us to do a branding and marketing campaign and put feet on the ground in the US a lot sooner. But the reality is we're doing those things anyway. So the raise for us is not pivotal in our ability to get to the next stages where we're at milestone of user acceptance testing almost for the next platform release, and then we'll go live at the end of this month. And then the next step after that will be the following version, and then after that's the US. We're looking at early next year for the US. So those things are happening anyway, but the raise is going to speed up scale once we've completed the MVP launch in a couple of weeks. We're raising 1.5 million USD. And the use of funds is, the international expansion, not just into the US. We want to also go to Europe and to New Zealand and Canada and a few other places. We will also be spending a little bit on working capital, scaling up the capability of the team, bringing on a few more resources, and then branding and marketing, a huge branding and marketing campaign, getting some influencers involved, and that sort of stuff.
Affiliate partnerships. There's lots of different things we have in plan for marketing that we see being really successful. We've seen the traction without having to do ad spend, and there's lots of different partnerships we can do around just, spending ads, which is where a lot of marketplaces have gone wrong in the past as well. So there's a lot of different strategies we want to push. And like Mav said, it's not that we need the capital. It's that we see this being a solution to people's problem, and we want to get it out there now. You know what I mean? We want to do it faster, and the capital will allow us to even the developments to the app, the software. We can, instead of slowly launching that out over a year or two, it can be something that we can put more resources into and launch faster.
Just wanted to put a quick disclaimer. The end of the video for TidyDen cut off just as we were saying our final goodbyes. So I wanted to put a video here just to say that you didn't miss anything. It was just the video that the recording ended ever so slightly. Thanks.